Hey, before I forget, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Thanks. All right, welcome back. So we've got a lot of activities planned today. We're going to do sheltercraft, firecraft. I'm going to show you another way to start fire with that military flashlight. We're going to purify some swamp otter that's down there, do some tool craft, building a bucksaw frame, and then a few other tools. I'm going to show you a couple different snares, and we're going to talk emergency field rations. One of the first things I want to show you today is got my ladder style pack frame here, and what we've done is we've taken our gill net. We've got a lot of different tools on the outside of our pack, but we take our gill net needle and gauge and we constructed just a simple net to act as the lashing to hold our entire pack together. It's just another way to create that lattice work to hold this ladder style pack frame together, just making a small net and then attaching this net and stretching it over our gear to hold everything in place. Plus we got the lattice work on the outside where we can put all of our different tools and things that we have for our Bushman's kit. But why don't we dive into our Bushman's kit and we'll take a look at it. The point I want to drive home with this video is that we adapt our minimal kit for the time of season it is, what area we're in, what climate range that we're in, and the area to maximize its use to survive off the landscape if that's what we're going to be doing. So we can still stay within that wheelhouse of those 5 main items to survive with, that being a cutting tool, some sort of way to start fire, some cordage, whatever it is, a container to boil and purify water, and then some sort of cover element, whatever that is. Now just a few months ago, I made a video about the 5-piece minimal kit that we can have out here in the bottomlands, and we had a poncho for shelter at that time. We can get away with that, but it's getting colder now and winter is right around the corner. So we traded out that poncho for a wool blanket, and we've added a few more cutting items like a hatchet and then some more cover items and cordages to function out here in the bottomlands, and I highly recommend we do that for a minimal kit. So let's go. Let's talk about this water really quick for water survival strategy. Now, for without chemical means to treat that water in that canteen that we just filled up, we're gonna have to make a decision. Now, we could either fill up our canteen with dirty water. We cannot drink from this until it's treated, which means we go back to camp, put it in our canteen cup, boil it, and it's good to go. Otherwise, we could fill up our canteen cup, take this back, purify it, let it cool, and then put it in our canteen so we have safe water to transport and drink. We need to make that decision down here at the water source on what we're willing to deal with. Number one is we have a dirty canteen that we can't drink from, but we have that much more water to take back to camp, purify in one go, and then be able to drink that, come back and continue to fill up. The other one is a little bit more time intensive, and we have to travel greater distances from camp down here to the water to fill up. So something to think about if you're gonna use a standard issue or a Nalgene bottle that's plastic that can't be purified over a fire, or we don't have chemical treatment for this water, and then a metal canteen cup on how we actually go about purifying that water and making it safe. So something to consider next time you're out in the woods. One of my favorite survival tricks, the old Bucksaw on your belt trick. Let's talk about the shelter really quick before we finish up. Now, this shelter is great for colder weather and colder climates. We want to insulate ourselves from the ground and then from the air currents to protect us from precipitation if it should rain or snow. And so the debris style A-frame is perfect for that. We've got our tripod set up with our lattice work in here. We can use our Bucksaw to take down that material very quickly, build the frame, and then start piling debris on top. The best thing about this shelter is pile all the debris on top that you can, starting from the bottom, working your way up, and anything that falls down inside, in between our lattice work here, and that's just bed insulation for tonight. So we got our shelter finished. Last thing we do is add a few branches onto our shelter to help hold the leaves in place in case a gust of wind comes through here. We don't lose all our debris, but it'd be too easy to search around here and grab a little bit more to throw on top if we lose some. Alright, so our first fire is done with our bow drill, but what I thought we'd do today is take a look at another way to start a fire with this angle head flashlight. Now, last time what we did was just took some lead wires that were concealed in the bottom compartment of this flashlight, hooked them up to the positive negative terminals inside of the flashlight, and then with some steel wool turned the flashlight on, completed the circuit with those lead wires and steel wool, igniting the steel wool that we used to start a fire. But there is another way. Actually, there are multiple ways to start a fire with this angle head flashlight, but I'm going to show you another one. Now, with this method, we obviously need our flashlight, a bandana or a cloth, a rock, have a tinder bundle on standby, and then from our first fire, if we're able to, we can make char material. I find this method easiest with the char material. You can use natural tinder, but char seems to work a lot better compared to natural tinder. Just remove that whole front section, leaving the body in place. Unscrew the cap to remove the bulb. And there's our bulb. This is incandescent, meaning it's got a filament inside. We're going to try to break the bulb without breaking the filament. I've successfully done this a few times, so I think we'll be all right. There you go. Filament is still in place. Here's our filament. Good to go. And we want to carefully place this back inside without ruining the filament. Looks good. And then we can put this cap back on. Hold it in place. Filament is still in place. I'm going to take my char material, put it on top in here, and try to hold it down without ruining the filament. Now all we're going to do is turn this on, and once we press the parabolic lens down, it should ignite our char. All right, there you go. Our filament is gone, but we have lit char. That's fire with a flashlight. But hey, if you were concerned about this being our only flashlight, don't worry. In the bottom of the battery case, there is a spare bulb. So now we can just replace that bulb we used to start our emergency fire with our L-shaped flashlight, and we're good to go. But something I want to talk about briefly is an emergency rations pack. Now we can take whatever type of food we want into the field for as long as we think we're going to be in the field. One thing I like to do and that I recommend is taking a quart-sized bag, grabbing a bunch of energy bars or protein bars, beef jerky, high-calorie foods, and fitting it into a quart-sized bag like this that we can just throw in our kit. And then if we're out longer than we think, or somebody ran out of food, whatever it is, we have an emergency rations pack like this one, very small, that can go right in our kit. Let me open it up and I'll show you the contents that we've got in this kit. All right, here you can see the contents of the emergency rations pack. Now, beef jerky, high-calorie energy bar, we've got some trail mix, some peanut butter, some fruit in the form of a little squeeze bottle or squeeze pack of applesauce. We've got hot cocoa, tea, some sugar to go with our tea, and then some coffee, some electrolyte drinks, chocolate bars, and then a bunch of hard candies. But there's about 1,000 calories of food right here. A lot of energy in a small pack that we can pack as an emergency ration for survival. Now, the snare I want to show you today is for survival purposes only. It's not the most ethical thing in the world, and we could definitely make better use of the equipment because we're going to be using fishing line and then a treble hook for our snare. Now, the water in this area, it's a lot of swampy water, very shallow water this time of year. There aren't a lot of fish that we could go out and get. There are turtles and there are frogs still that we could go out and attempt to hunt and get some game. But there's also a lot of squirrels in this area and then a few rabbits. And so this is a way to go after some of that ground game and attempt to snare something. Now with this snare, we're going to need some peanut butter from our emergency rations kit. Take that peanut butter and put it on our treble hook as best as possible. We want to tie off the fishing line on a tree like this that is strong enough to accommodate the weight of a squirrel or a rabbit, and that is leaning over a little bit so we can get the hook up off the ground and elevate it. And we want to set it at about the height that that animal is going to be on two legs trying to reach up and get the peanut butter that's on our treble hook. Now the intent behind this snare is that the animal reaches up to get the peanut butter, bites down on it, catches the hook in the lip, or swallows the hook and is stuck on that hook on this snare attached to the tree and is locked in place long enough for us to come, grab that animal, dispatch it quickly, and then we have food for survival. Alright guys, well, I hope you liked that video. If you did like that video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for the channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.